love cats. I love every kind of cat. I just wanna hug all of them, but I can't hug every cat. Can't hug every cat. So anyway, I am a cat lover and I love to run. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about cats again.
It is Lauren, CatLadyStitcher. Today is Tuesday, as I'm recording this, June 12th. It's been a couple weeks since I last saw you guys. I've been liking this format of every other week, at least for right now, so that may change, but for right now I think I'm gonna keep it that way. It's just been easier on me. Work has been crazy, and yeah, so I just haven't had too much time to dedicate to stitching as much as I would like. So, anywho, this week will be a very short update. Trying to think what, if anything, stitchy fun has happened in the last 2 weeks since I saw you guys. I didn't record anything down. I did, so I know that a lot of you guys participated in the cross stitch sleepover this past Friday. I did catch on a little bit of that. I was house sitting / dog sitting for my cousin this past weekend. So I didn't participate mainly because my friend Kathleen, who you've seen before, was with me, and technically we participated, we just didn't post anything about it. So we were cross stitching. She came over and hung out with me after work, and we watched a movie and stitched and had pizza. We actually, I guess I'm gonna say that we participated. We just didn't share on social media because I forgot to post a picture. So Friday after work, we went to try this new boba tea place. It's not new per se, but new to us. If you don't know what boba tea is, or bubble tea, it is really good. It's weird for some people, so it's not for everybody, but essentially it's it can be either or, but usually it's a milk tea, and it's flavored with, I usually get taro, but they've got like matcha, green tea, depending on where you go. And then you typically will get what's called tapioca pearls or boba in the tea, and they're like dime sized maybe, and they are like gelatinous, I don't know what else to call them, little pearls that you kind of like can chew on and eat. Oh gosh, Luna is on her way. Let's see if third week in a row she'll knock us over. Anyway, there's a place that we go to near Kathleen's house that we really like. There was a place actually that we discovered in Seattle on our trip that has like ruined all boba tea for us because it was like our favorite, which naturally now we're gonna compare everything to that. So if you're in the Seattle area and you like bubble tea, Luna, don't even think about it. Hold on. Hold please. Oh. Say hi. You want to be on camera so bad, say hi. If you're in the downtown Seattle area, share tea. Somewhere in downtown. It may be a chain, but really good. All that to say, we tried out this new place to us in Nashville called, I'm not going to actually tell you the name because if you're in the Nashville area, we were extremely disappointed, and I don't want to hate on them on YouTube. So anyway, there's a place that we went to in Nashville that had Thai style ice cream, like the rolled ice cream, and boba tea. So we're like, well, great, 2 in 1, we'll try that out. By the way, if you happen to be in the Nashville area and you want to avoid this place, just like email me or message me on Instagram or whatever, and I'll tell you the name. But anywho, we went, high hopes. As soon as we saw the tea, like after it was made, it was, first sign was that it was like bright purple. So if you've ever had taro milky tea, bubble tea, and it's a good one, you know that it shouldn't be bright purple because that's like a powder base or something. It's just not like, it's not a natural flavor. And also they didn't have the sealed plastic lid. It was just like a dome lid. So like 2 strikes already, we're kind of like, oh, this is kind of sketchy. We both of us took a sip and immediately we were like, oh gosh, how do we get rid of this without being rude and like dumping it out? It was not good. We also tried the ice cream hers she was not impressed with, but again, it was another one of those like flavors that you would typically get in like a milky tea, and it was like a powdered flavor, so not a natural one. So I think that's where hers went wrong. Mine was pretty good. I got just like a vanilla based with Nutella and then fresh banana and coconut on top, shavings, coconut shavings. It was really good. So then we ordered some pizza and we went back to my cousin's house where I was staying, and we watched I, Tonya, which also really good movie. I've been meaning to watch that. It's on, I think, Netflix's maybe, actually it may have been Hulu. It was on Netflix or Hulu, and so we watched that and stitched all night, and so we both got a lot done, and that was a lot of fun. So that's what we did for our cross-stitch sleepover. I wish that I'd taken a picture now that I think about it, but I was too busy cross-stitching to think about it. But a lot of you guys had some really great pictures and videos and live videos, and so big shout out to, I think it was CatLadyStitcher, Teresa. I think there may have been someone else that kind of brought up the idea with her, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm pretty sure she was like pretty much the spearhead on that. So Teresa at CatLadyStitcher, thanks for that. That was a really fun idea. And even so minimally as I participated, I really enjoyed it. So that's about all I've done as far as stitchy related fun things lately. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys my whips, because that's what you're here for. Last time I was here, I think I had just finished the top half of And a Forest Grew. I was stitching on that only for the entire month of May. So instead of doing Stitch Mania where you do a different start for every day, or however a lot of people were doing it, because I couldn't afford to do that and buy a bunch of new starts and the materials that I would need for it, I decided to do Monogamania and stitch only on one thing. So for the entire month of May and well into last week, so the first week of June really, I only stitched on Rosewood Manors, what did I do with that? And a Forest Grew. So this is what the final product should look like. I'm making a face because I was thinking to myself yesterday or the day before that my pattern booklet is getting kind of beat up because I've been using this and just like folding it without like, you know, making working copies. And I was thinking to myself, man, this is really beat up. Like, how do people keep these so pristine and then like gift them or sell them once they're done or whatever? And then I realized people probably aren't as dumb as me and they probably use a working copy. So my book is nice and beat up, so I probably won't resell this. If I finish it, I may just end up passing it along to someone who doesn't mind it being beat up, and I think I may have someone in mind for that. So I'm gonna insert a picture here of where I was last time. So that's where I was last time you saw it. This is really wrinkled, so you'll have to bear with me. I haven't touched it in a week, and it's been in the Q-snap with the cover on it. So this is where I'm at now. Oh, it's very wrinkled on this side, but you've seen all that. This is kind of the new stuff here. I'll get up close. I've almost gotten 2 pages, the first 2 pages on that bottom half finished. There's just a few little motifs that I've got to finish up, and then I'll move on to the middle section. But I really like it. I'm still loving it. Miraculously enough, it took me, I didn't get tired or like burnt out on working on this until last week. And so then I was like, finally, okay, I gotta take a break. Because I was really enjoying it for like the entire month. Like, obviously I mentioned at one point that I wanted to finish the whole thing, which clearly did not happen. But I got like 2/3 of this done, which I say is a win, you know, for 1 month of stitching. I think I started this right at the beginning of May or maybe right at the end of April. So for 1 month and all of the mistakes that I've made on this thing and redos and poorly measured fabric, I'm pretty proud of it. I'll give you a quick close-up here of that last area. I'm really digging these like fruit trees. I think this looks like a lemon tree or like I think they grow on bushes or something, I don't really know. But those kind of look like lemons to me. So I like that a lot. The only other thing, so I decided when I took a break from this, at some point, I think it was Michelle, Bendy Stitchy Michelle, was posting a lot on her Instagram story a couple weeks ago, sometime during Mania, that she was working on her HAED, and had shared about the group Full Coverage Fanatics on Facebook, where they had like goals that you could set, or some kind of, I think it's ongoing for the entire year, but like the goal is to do so many stitches a month in your HAED, which I thought was a great idea, because that kind of would motivate, at least for me, it would motivate me to get past the really big blocks of just one color that are pretty boring. Like the whole first page of mine is just one color. So she got me wanting to start back on my HAED, just to like kind of make myself push through the boring part and get to the next page that has more than two colors in it. So I picked that back up. I think Friday was the first day I picked it up. So since Friday, I've probably put, let's see, I think there's 1,000 stitches in a column. Let me count real quick. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so there's 1,000 stitches per column, and I've done like 3,000 stitches since Friday, which is a lot. So let me show you what it's supposed to look like. I'm gonna insert a picture here. This is a Heaven and Earth design, designed by Michelle Sayetta, but the image, the pattern itself is from Jeff Pritchard, or the image, the artwork rather. And this is all I've got. I'm like, it's not even really worth showing, but this is pretty much all the same color, although you'll notice like right here, where I was starting the next column, it looks to me, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but to me it looks like 2 different colors there. It is the same color. The majority of this is 317. And I have it, like took it from the same exact bobbin that I'm pretty sure was all from the same skein. I don't think I'm like 99% sure that it was not 2 skeins like from different dye lots on one bobbin, but maybe I'm wrong or crazy. So that's slightly bothersome, but since the whole thing is like gonna be really massive, and this is just the tiny tip little corner, I know it won't bother me in the long run, so I'm getting over it. But the reason that I'm actually enjoying this right now, which is very surprising, seeing as literally this whole page, like however many stitches, there's 10 squares in a column, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's how many stitches? 800 by 1,000 per page. Is that right? I think I need to subtract one. It's 800 across by 1,000 down. I'm probably doing something wrong there, but that's a lot of freaking stitches for one page of a 80-page design. So there's my tiny itty bitty little corner, but I'm still quite proud of it because it's gotten a lot done. And I have been bad about doing this. So before I did this, and I forgot already to do it with And a Forest Screw, but I bought this nifty, I keep forgetting what size fabric I've been using. For the most part, it's like 28 or 32 count, but I keep forgetting. And I know, like, I like it when people say on their videos, like, what kind of fabric they're using, what size count it is, if it's even weave or Lugana or linen or whatever, and where they got it from. Because I find that helpful when I'm looking for stuff in future, and I've been terrible about doing that because to me, I'm like, oh, well, mine's boring and white. No one cares. Someone might care. So that being said, this I did get from Heaven and Earth Designs on their website because it's like a custom size because it's such a huge cut. I don't even know what the finished, like, it's a huge cut of fabric, but it's 32 count. No, I lied. This one's 28 count, and I'm stitching it 1/1. So one strand and 1/1. So over one thread, what I was getting at is that I got this cool, I don't really know what this other, ideal for tracking cross stitch and needlepoint charts. So I guess this part is for like putting your pattern on and holding it in place. But it was this neat little magnetic thing that I got at Hobby Lobby that came with a magnetic count guide. I think this was, how much was this? $4.99, and I'm pretty sure I used my 40% off coupon on this because nothing else was on sale, and this was the most expensive thing I got that day. But for those of us like me who have not been stitching for very long, actually I think this month marks 1 year for me, I believe. Either this month or next, but it was definitely in the summer of last year. I don't know just by looking at it what the count is. I'm still not quite that well versed. So this is really nifty because it gives you up to 22 count. So like for me, I'm obviously like you can't see what's past that, but you would just multiply it. So like I was able to measure the 14 and be like, okay, that would be a 2x2 stitch or over 2 threads, multiply that by 2, so I'm using 28. That's how I like found that out. Obviously, like, I mean, most people probably don't need that, but for me it's super helpful. So let me backtrack for a second. This is a cream linen that I got from Hobby Lobby or Joann's, one or the other. And this is a 32 count linen. And I'm stitching this 2/2. I think it's like, it's not Zweiger, but it's whatever the other one they sell there. It's like it's 3 letters. It's like WCG, or I always forget what it is, but I didn't write it down. So those are my whips. I don't have any finishes because that's all I've worked on. I stayed true. I did not work on anything else. I'm trying to think. I have not bought anything other than that little magnetic count guide, so I don't have any fun purchases to show you that are here, at least. The only other thing that I have, oh, let me take a second to tell you, it's like double fold, so I know like what I'm all into or whatever is like I'm finding awesome this week. I don't know what I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna say what I'm all into this week. Like, I think it's Teresa who does that. So this week, and this ties into how I actually got started stitching. So this time last year, I discovered Project Runway on Hulu. Like, I knew it was a show, I just never, for whatever reason, never watched it. I think the reason I got into it is because I had just binged all of the Great British Bake Off on Netflix, and then after that was over, I was like, what do I do with my life? I want another competition show to watch that I can like maybe learn something from and try to do some of it. Because after the Great British Bake Off ended, I tried to bake everything until I quite literally made myself sick. And I haven't baked anything since then. So then I started watching Project Runway, and I binged like all 9 seasons they had available on Hulu. And I was like, oh, I want to learn to sew. I'm gonna make all these things. So I found a couple of patterns on Pinterest. I think I made a purse and I made a skirt. And then I broke my mom's sewing machine. It was pretty old and like mostly broken to begin with, but I didn't know that because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I think I took learned how to make a basic stitch when I was in like 7th grade in whatever kind of home ec class that I had in middle school. So anyway, after I broke the sewing machine, I still wanted to be able to do something with my hand, and somehow that led me to Hobby Lobby, where I was just perusing the aisles because they're right next to the fabric, and I bought my first cross stitch pattern. And that's how I ended up where I am today, because I broke my mom's sewing machine. So what I'm all into right now is Project Runway, because getting back to, I do this a lot where I talk about something so much and probably unnecessarily amount of detail that I've already forgotten why I started talking about it in the first place. So I discovered yesterday, I, for whatever reason, decided, let me just see if there's any more Project Runway seasons, because I think where it stopped on Hulu, it was like 2 or 3 seasons behind where they are currently. So I just assumed it was one of those where they stopped their partnership with, I think it's Lifetime that it comes on, so it wasn't gonna be on anymore. But for whatever reason, I decided to look, and they had the next season available on Hulu. So I started watching that again yesterday, and I'm so obsessed again. I mean, like now I'm like, I wanna go back to sewing and learn all these things, because for Christmas, my mom and dad, AKA Santa brought me a sewing machine. So I've used it for a couple things. You guys have seen the project bags that I made, but that's all I've really made. I've made a couple of skirts and a couple of project bags, and that's about all I've ever done as far as sewing. So now it's got me wanting to do that again. My main problem with that is just I don't have a lot of room to spread out in my tiny little apartment because it's just the size of a garage that's been turned into a living area. So anywho, that's kind of what I'm all into this week. And I won't have any shout outs or anything else exciting. My only plans per se, I think I'm gonna keep stitching as much as I can on my HAED for right now. It's gonna take me a while to get back to being like in a rotating whip schedule because, well, I didn't have a schedule before, but I was just getting comfortable with the idea before Stitch Mania of swapping out projects and working on different things. But working on the same thing for over 30 days has got me in that mindset again. And so I'm enjoying that. So right now I'm just a monogamous stitcher. I want to pull back out my Harry Potter pillow sampler and work on that some more soon. But I really just want to get past the gray so bad. So I think my goal is to try and finish this whole page and start on the page below it because that page has like 5 colors on it instead of 2. Normally I work left to right, but I cannot stitch 317 for the next year. I can't because that's going to be the whole top half of that is gray. I cannot stitch. I will poke myself in the eye with my needle before I will do that. So I'm gonna, that's my goal. So the next time you guys see me, that will probably be all I have stitched on because it's very easy for me to stitch on at work right now because I'm not having to pay attention to where stitches go. It's all the same color. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise. I'm gonna go with that. So anyway, thanks for stopping by. This is another short episode, hence why I'm doing every other week because I haven't had too much to update with. Yeah, and I hope you guys have a great stitchy week, and I will see you guys next time.
I love every kind of cat. I just wanna hug all of them, but I can't get hug every